There we go. I knew I forgot something this morning. As I tried to say, good morning, everybody. Amazingly, this time though, I caught the fact that I didn't have volume, which is odd for me to actually catch something like that. But it is a not as gorgeous day here in Georgia now. I woke up and it was very cloudy and overcast, threatening to rain, which would make it a gorgeous day to be in our sewing rooms. Sun shining now, which makes it less of a gorgeous day to be in our sewing rooms. But you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life or the weathers of the world. So, yeah, it's been a slightly busy day for me already. I've already been to Saturday Sampler this morning. They slightly adjusted the rules again, but again, I'm in favor of the way that they're changing things, so it's all good. I'm hoping that they start to initiate an early termination fee with Saturday Sampler, but we will see if that ever does happen. It looks like they're trying to move towards that direction based on some of the rule changes that they've had, so I'm hoping. And the only reason why I'm hoping is because they break patterns when they cancel Saturday Sampler. When somebody drops out of Saturday Sampler, it breaks up a pattern, which they can't sell, so they're out of the money. Whereas, early termination fee, you can make sure that they take care of that pattern cost. I mean, don't sign up for something if you can't do it, right? It's been a crazy week this past week, but it's been going to be an exciting week coming up because I have the week off. Yeah. So I'm very excited. David is coming in on Monday. I'm basically certain because he sent me a flight itinerary, that he is arriving Monday evening. So I just got to make sure I get his sheets washed because Percy has been sleeping on his bed a lot, which means we put a top sheet over, so the sheets should be fine. But yeah, the top sheet is basically gray from all of Percy's hair. So I got to get his room straightened back up and sheets washed and everything so that, when he gets in on Monday, he has a place to sleep. Who has arrived here in the chat? Because, that's the most important part. Joydy was firsties, reserving her front row seat. Don't pay too much attention to, the mistakes that are going to happen today. Jeannie E says hi. Ingrid says hi, Russ. Just got home from our local quilt shop with Shannon. Ooh, that sounds like that was a fun adventure. Colleen says hi, everyone. She's working on a block for her farm sampler today. Ingrid said her nephew Danny went too, and he wanted to look for chicken fabric. Chicken fabric is so much fun. Anytime that I see any type of chicken fabric, I make sure I send it to David because he at least used to have a thing for chickens. He had, like when he first lived here, he had an apartment and he had like chicken decorations all around the house. So it was kind of amusing to giggle at. Donna's here, says hello everyone. Jacqueline first tried to say hello all. She retracted it and actually succeeded in saying hello all. And the only reason why I can see what you used to said instead of retracted is because I looked up on the TV to see what you said. When you retract a message, it does not retract on the TV chat, but it'll retract everywhere else. YouTube kind of needs to potentially fix that, but it doesn't matter if they fix it or not. That'll be really cool. Patricia Lancaster says hi everyone, and hi Julie. who is one of my besties here. She says hi, Russ. Uh, so yeah, I've been trying to play catch up because I thought that I had all of my pieces pressed and everything for today, and I didn't. So I had to quickly trim and press all of these, which is a giant pile. Because I am working on Bumbleberry Pie. Let me fold up to show you what I am doing. This was month 11. And we are making some migrating geese borders. I guess it's migrating geese because it goes from left to right to left to right. It's a big pain in the neck. I only found one set of these, so I don't know if I already made the other strip or if I am completely missing some stuff in my homework. So I'm going to have to go back and figure out where month 11 was and see what I did and all that stuff. So I'm at least going to get this one done. Good morning, Sue, who says good morning, Russ and everyone else. Molly is asking, hi, Russ, on all. What am I working on today? I am, as I just said, Bumbleberry Pie homework. This was month 11, which was the last month that we, Stephanie of Quilting with Stephanie Stitches, we worked on together on whoever's channel did month 11. I think it was hers. Either way, it was a whole bunch of migrating geese. So it's basically a flying geese block where one side is longer than the other. So that's what we did on the live. And now I'm putting them all together so that, what's the phrase? I'm ready for the end of the program, because shortly after Stephanie gets back, we are hopefully going to be putting everything together. Once she gets settled and gets her homework done, because I know she has a bit of homework that's still left. I've been doing what I can to get my homework done here because I got graduation quilts I need to work on, and I have to have homework done in order to get those done. Good morning, Sherry of Sherry Yurton, my quilting world, who says hi, Russ and all. And good morning, Kathy, who says good morning, everyone. So I have, like I said, my blocks, and I'm going to see what I can do about doing 2 at a time. That way I'm doing a lot less start and stop with my leader ender. And we will see if I actually make no mistakes, because I'm expecting me to make a mistake if I'm doing 2 at a time. Just because that's very likely to happen. But hopefully I will still make sure I'm doing everything. Because they are migrating. One is going to be on the bottom, the next one's going to be on top. I've already organized these in piles, because organization helps make sure everything is great. And they're not on a design wall because they're organized in piles. So I'm going to pull off of the left pile, then I'm going to pull off the right pile, then I'm going to pull off the left pile, then I'm going to pull off the right pile, and hopefully not have any issues. We will see. And I'm sure somebody is going to be watching and say, hey, Russ, be careful, you just made a mistake. And I will be like 45 seconds into that mistake. Change my stitch width. And I need my knee bar. I'm like, why is my machine not opening? Because the knee bar is not there. And the direction that I am sewing these is so that I have the point of the flying geese on top, so I don't lose my points. As long as I am sewing on this side of the X, then I will not lose my point. And let's see how well it goes. I take it a little slower over the point. Hypothetically, my my point is going to line up with the geese behind it. I am not doing anything extra to ensure it lines it up besides, fold it, not fold, align and pray. For people who want to have more accuracy, you can sit there and do a poke a pin, where you would poke it in the X, and then you would line it up 1/4 of an inch in on the flying goose, and do that to line up. Because these two pieces are the same size right now, I'm just praying that they're the right size. And we will see how I did right now. Ingrid says she is ready for a nap. I can imagine if you've already run to a local quilt shop and did all that shopping. They're lined up decently. And then I am pressing all seams to this direction. As I've already made a mistake. Oh. So, there's my seam ripper. Which means I did the same thing on that one too. How did I make... Okay. This is why I also pay attention. It's the first one that I was going to make a mistake on. Because once you got them going, you should be fine. Good morning, Jen. I'm trying to get under the threads. Come on. Ripping white thread from white fabric is a pain in the neck. And I'm just gonna okay. So I'm going to make sure that these are lined up how I'm expecting. They're going to go this way, but I want to sew this direction. And that's what I was trying to do. I guess I did not think correctly when I was rotating everything. Like I said, life happens. And then this one is also the wrong direction, so I'm going to half cheat on this. No, actually, I'm going to just do the proper rip. I'm going to try to half cheat it, but it's going to be easier just to do the full rip. And then do it right the correct way. I forgot to even look to see how close my point lined up. I had a perfect point there too. Oh well. Okay. Take two. Or 2.2. I'll just have to remember not to goof when I start my next set. Okay. Well, this one actually lined up better. Yeah, see that? Oh, wait, there we go. And I'm just going to start with finger pressing. Let me rip out the rest of the thread from the back just to have it cleaned up. Okay. Everything needs to point that direction. That's what I did wrong. I should have flipped everything up and built it from the opposite direction. So I will show you what I'm doing in a second once I get this one done, because I know how to explain it now that I've started it at the seam. And that one's a pretty good one. So when I was making a decision as to which way I'm going to press these, I have a choice of either having a wonky seam on the end or having a really difficult seam in the middle. And I'd rather the half wonky seam at the end, because this is easier to control than this in the direction that I want it to go. So what I am doing is I'm putting it, making sure it lines up the way it's supposed to go, putting them on top of each other, and then I am flipping it in order to get the visibility of the point of the flying goose. It's more annoying than if I had put everything in the correct order of the way that it would be taken off. And if you're not trying to do anything on a certain side to line stuff up, it's not that big a deal. Okay, opening this up. That one didn't line up as happy as I would like, but you know, it's sewn, and that's all that matters. So I'm making sure they migrate the correct direction. There's probably some feeling technique that I can work with to help butt up the goose to the other goose instead of doing the pinning. one's lined up okay. People aren't going to be paying too much attention to my seams, and if they do, they can just, go sew it themselves. So I'm going to do the same technique on both of these, and we will see how it looked on that one. Which I realize is not something we're supposed to do. Do the same thing twice and then see how it works out. But I live on the edge. And that one lined up pretty good. So what I did in order to get that line up, and we're going to see how it works on the opposite side, is I'm making sure everything is together. And this seam, I'm trying to butt up totally against this seam because they line up together. And that should give me a pretty good lining up of everything. And I'm probably about to be told I'm out of thread in the bobbin, if I haven't already run out and I'm sewing air. I've still got a little bit more. Oh, that one looks good with the line up. Grabbing the correct side. Line up. I forgot to flip. I'm not worried about it. I was like, why does everything look like it's supposed to look? Because I forgot to flip. And I'll show you how that one came out with me just doing the stitch and pray method. And I don't trust that I'm going to make the next seam. I'm just peeking in the... Oh, I did have enough. Barely. I could have done one more seam probably. But better safe than sorry. I should invest in pre-wound bobbins for my machine. But I don't know if Aurifil makes pre-wounds. I know some of the other threads make pre-wounds. But I haven't looked to see if Aurifil makes pre-wounds in my size. Jen says she likes the color. I am loving this fabric. It is Lewis and Irene are the fabric designers. The fabric line is called Bumbleberries, and I haven't seen it sold anywhere but the one quilt shop that I bought this block of the month from, which is kind of frustrating. But okay, I say it that way. The So Yeah Brothers did have a sale from their South Carolina warehouse several months back. And that's when I learned that they had a 108, but they did not have a 108 in the color that I am doing my back in. So I did not have FOMO. Okay. My thread did not trim when it went through, so I'm just trimming the thread out of the bobbin. And just like that, we're back together. Oh, it helps if I actually hit the button to thread the needle. I did 2 upside down. But as you see, even doing it blind, I got a pretty good point. So maybe I'm just going to continue to do these blind. Or I will actually remember to flip them. This is one of those, I'm trying to show you kind of the right way to do it. So this morning, also, before I headed out to Saturday Sampler, I got a message from my cousin. She asked when the dates of my cruise were. And of course, I was like, I think these are the dates. Basically saying, whatever the week of my birthday is, the cruise is around that. And then she asked, how far are you away from State Farm Arena? At which point I was like, something's up. And I told her, I was like, well, it's next door to where our office used to be. And because of that, it could take anywhere from 30 minutes to 300 minutes to get there, depending on traffic. Apparently, one of the bands that they went to go see, they saw last night, the Lumineers, they're going to be here in Atlanta, I think she said October 4. And she's like, if we get plane tickets and stuff, can we stay with you? And I'm like, of course. And then she asked, can you taxi us around to and from the concert? And I was like, and I just gave that blank look to my phone. And then she's like, and I'll buy you a concert ticket if you want to go. I was like, the only way I'm taxiing you is if I'm going to the concert. So I might be going to a concert right before my birthday. I do love some of the songs that they have, so I am very, very excited if it does happen. But my sister has to look up her PTO stuff on Monday when she gets back into the office to see if she has the time and availability to buy what's needed. Good morning, Stephen, who says that he is late in chat. You're late in chat? Um, yeah, that doesn't sound like good grammar from a former grammar teacher. So basically, I will know on probably Monday if I am going to be going to a concert in October. Good morning, Duvraka, who says good morning, Russ and everyone from Canada. She is late too. You are not late, Duvraka. You are perfectly on time because I don't take attendance and I don't lock the doors once things start, so you are not late. Steven's apparently not in a mood. I was excited to see that Steven's technology started working again for Steven and Walter Live this past weekend. That's one of the reasons why I try not to do updates unless it's something that is required, like operating system updates are required, or it's a security thing because there's some software that needs to be updated for security stuff. But if it's basically a feature thing, which I would call OBS Studio a feature application. So I'm sure it's doing bug fixes, but if it's stuff that I'm not experiencing a bug with, I don't necessarily want to update because who knows what else it could break. As Steven experienced potentially stuff that it could break. Which is amusing because the instructor at the class I took on Monday thinks that a majority of the complications I'm having with my long arm are probably due to bug fixes that have happened since the version of the software that I have. And I'm like, okay, so there's bug fixes that need to happen. So I was told how to update my Pro Stitcher software. And that's on my list of stuff to do this weekend. Steven says technology issues are resolved for now. Having a problem with a clock he's 3D printing. And that's what he's been working on all morning. Now, the nerd in me, Steven, is wondering, are you just printing a case for a clock? Or are you 3D printing like all the gears and everything for a clock? And the reason why my nerd questions are asking this is because back in ancient times, when I first moved to Atlanta, so we're talking was probably 2002 when I bought it. There was a company that existed back then, and it may still exist, called Puzz 3D, P-U-Z-Z 3D. They made 3D puzzles, and one of their puzzles that they had was a clock. And it was a working clock. They, like, you had to put together all the gears and like everything. You even had to buy. You had to collect a certain number of pennies. Oh, that's what I did wrong. You had to collect a certain number of pennies for the proper weight for the weights in there. So it was like it had a pendulum and the weights and everything. You had to wind it once a day. I never got the timing on it correct, but I thought it was a really cool thing that you could actually make a clock basically from scratch. Which, now that I am remembering that I did that, I'm almost wondering if I should look up on the various 3D printing sites to see if they have that type of 3D printed clock where you print all the gears and everything else. Because I imagine a 3D printed set of gears would be a lot more stable and forgiving than the cardboard gears from the Puzz 3D one. Okay, these geese are starting to get a little out of control. I don't know if I can say some of those words you just typed, Stephen, without, giggling. He said that he bought a cheap clock that works to install in the clock body. So what I'm hearing is he's doing what most people do when they say they make a clock, where he's got the little... he bought the mechanism that turns for the clock, and he's trying to fit it in the hole in the 3D printer made, but the hole is too small. And there's so many jokes that can be said. I don't know what the jokes are, but I'm told that there's a whole slew of jokes that can be said about that. But that is really cool, Stephen, that you are doing basically a traditional clock, but 3D printing it. Because that gives you all the customization that you can imagine. I have seen projects on the New Yankee Workshop, which, for the Canadians, it was a show that was on PBS here, hosted by Norm Abrams of This Old House fame, also in yet another PBS show. And every week he would build a woodworking project And anytime that he did a clock, he did he bought the mechanism that would do the turning and just install the arms on it that he wanted. Okay, I'm not going to iron you yet. So as long as my colors are in the correct order, I have two of them done, and I'm just looking to make sure that they have everything in the right order. I have to make two more of this style, which is these two piles of fabric. And then there's two that I have to do of the opposite direction. So what's on the top needs to go on the bottom, and what's on the bottom needs to go on top. And I can't remember if I've done those or not, or if I have them hiding or something. I forgot to trim the back of this one. That's why I stopped the funny look. I told you I was rushing this morning to get everything ready. Okay. It goes like that, like this. Steven says the clock is not traditional, but he will show it sometime soon. I should send you the nerdy clock that I am interested in. Only because it is super nerdy. And I really should be pressing between every seam, but I'm being lazy and not. I'm just finger pressing to make sure everything is going the general direction, and then I can do a full pressing later. Because when I do the full pressing, I just got to make sure everything goes in the correct direction, and it can just go once. I didn't trim a second one. I'm just going to use my scissors to trim this one the best I can because it's already sewn in. was like, why doesn't something feel right? I could have also left that extra fabric in. It just will create a little bit of bulk. The long arm wouldn't care because the long arm needles go through a lot. But I also like to be friendlier on my long arm needles. Ingrid says that sounds like a fun project, Stephen. She's looking forward to seeing it when you're done, but she's also wondering what color is it going to be? Knowing Stephen and his 7 billion 3D printing filament colors, maybe it'll be a variegated one. Or the ones that change color depending on which direction you're looking at it. No. See, I almost pulled from the wrong pile because I'm trying to do 2 at a time. But I'm catching myself. It's several characters, Steven says, and it's a character clock. I mean, all clocks have character, but that sounds pretty cool. That seam wasn't quite as flat as I wanted it to be. I just had an awesome idea for a clock if nobody has ever thought about it yet. It's a Christmas clock, so it'd be one that you would put out in your Christmas decorations. At the 1 o'clock, it would have a partridge in a pear tree. At the 2 o'clock, it would have 2 calling birds, or maybe just a calling bird. And then at 3 o'clock, it would be 3 French hens. Basically, the 12 days of Christmas. An image of each of those gifts from the 12 days of Christmas at each number. So it may not be, because you can't easily put, 12 drummers drumming, 11, 10. You can't get detail and put all of those in one. So you may just have to just do like a single Lord a leaping, geese a laying, and a single gold ring. So, anybody who's an artist that wants to make a clock, there's your idea from me. I just asked for $6 billion in royalty. caught this one. There are 13 pieces to each of these, if I remember correctly. But they are, as the pattern says, migrating, going back and forth. So since I have next week off, and David is going to be here, we have been trying to figure out what we will be doing for the week. He's arriving Monday. You know, a lot of places are closed on Mondays, so there's that. But we have a shop hop happening here in the Metro Atlanta area. So we have been thinking about going and visiting a few of the shops. I don't think we're going to hit all 10 of the shops, just because that's a lot of driving, especially in a few days. I know Monday I have my car maintenance scheduled, and then Thursday I have a haircut in that scheduled. And Saturday is Christmas in July. So if y'all were paying attention, a few weeks back I posted that we will be doing, and I don't have the pattern convenient. Where did I put the pattern? It's probably over on my cutting table. We are doing the poinsettia pattern from Villa Rosa. It's a table runner. And I have fabric picked out for it for me. So next week's live is going to be just a tad longer, so that we can get a good portion of the project completed together. And I will be doing it and just letting you guys know any tips and tricks that I have to help make some of putting it together a little easier. I'm also now giggling at myself because I quit trying to forcefully check each row as I'm putting these on to see if I kept the point and if everything is lined up well. And I think it's that because everything is still the same size, so it's still working. And I'm just glancing and everything looks good, so efficient Russ is happier that things are lining up. And I say efficient Russ, it's really lazy Russ. now I'm going to have to start planning what my family and I are going to be doing the couple days that they are here. Maybe I'll check to see if the Braves are playing, because if they are, I don't think, maybe that is playoffs. So maybe the Braves aren't playing. I don't remember. But if it's a cheap game, maybe we can go to a Braves game. And they will be excited that they will get to meet Riley. Since I got to meet their puppies back in May. And I will be excited because it'll be the first time my cousin has come down to visit. And it'll be the first time that my sister has had the time to come visit in a long time. Because, bless her heart, she's had a lot going on since the last time they came down, which was, I'm just going to say 15 years ago. Or so. But yeah, since she last was able to visit, a lot has happened in her life, which has caused her not to have time. And her husband refuses to fly. So if they wanted to make a family vacation out of it, they would have to drive. And it wasn't until, recently that her kids have actually become full-fledged adults. So if she wanted to actually come visit, like trying to figure out how to make sure the kids, didn't die and all that other stuff. Because apparently you can't put kids in daycare for like 2 or 3 days overnight or something like that, like I can do with Riley. It's like frowned upon or something. So now that she's finished her school and her kids are grown adults and everything, and she can leave her husband behind, and all of that, I think she's going to try. Well, she definitely is going to try for October to come visit. Because she did say when I was up there, she's like, I kind of feel bad that, I haven't been able to come visit. And I'm like, I know you don't have time, because she's a tax accountant. So first quarter of the year, she can't do anything. And then I guess second tax deadline is or I don't even know if that's second or third or whatever. She has a tax deadline like September 15 or 16. And the only reason why I know that is because that Sunday, one of our favorite performers is performing at a local venue here. And I'm like, I would love to go, and she wants to go, but it's right at tax deadline. So, like, her profession, it makes it difficult to get away at times too. So I'm like, we'll figure things out. But look at this. I have number 3 and number 4 done. So now I have to figure out is if I did number B or letter B or group 2. Group 2 is what they call it. If I did group 2 already or if excuse me, I need to find the fabrics for that. And then I can take 2 from group 1 that I did today and then 1 from group 2 and sew them a 1, a 2, a 1, and then I'll have a really long strip and that goes on the top and bottom of the quilt. I don't have a picture of it convenient of what it is, but if you go back and look at the Bumbleberry Pie playlist that I have in my channel, it does have pictures of the quilt. So we have hit noon, so I am going to say toodaloo for the afternoon. I'm going to see what else I can get done. I can get you know, stuff cleaned up in David's room. At least get it ready for washing sheets on Monday, because there's no point in me washing sheets until Monday, because Percy will be like, I want to go sleep on David's bed. And I don't want David to have to be sleeping in fur. So, hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Toodles!